good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Wednesday Week's My Wednesday feature. Tonight, I am joined by Max Burgar-Briggs, who is an avid Wednesday fan and fellow podcaster himself. How are you doing, Max?
I'm good, thank you, John. Yourself, you all right?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you, mate. Getting close to Easter now, and we're all looking forward to that extra time off to spend with our family and friends. So
definitely.
we've just got tomorrow, and then we hit the nice long weekend, don't we? And obviously we've got a game as well for a bonus to come up as well. So yeah, Max. So tell us all how you became a Sheffield Wednesday fan. What's your story there?
It's just been in the blood really since our little. It started from my granddad and my mum were a Wednesday fan, and then it's just passed down to me really. I've always supported and loved the club really. It's it's been in the blood since I was little.
Yeah, sometimes it helps where you live, and I know you live in sort of where I used to live, my neck of the woods, up around, not too far from Sheffield Wednesday, Hillsborough Stadium, really, don't you? You don't live too far from there, do you?
No, we don't. It's only practically down the road, like so. Yeah, it's in walking distance, thankfully, which is it's always nice, to on a Saturday, to just help down there and hopefully watch a win.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. So, do you think it mainly passed on through your family then, Wednesday? Like you say, your mum, being a local girl as well, sort of passed on mainly through family then.
Yeah. I mean, the main ones. My granddad really. He lived near. He lived in Parsons Cross, so they were close to the Wednesday ground. And really, it's just a generational thing.
Brilliant stuff. Yeah, it often does get passed on through family. Although sometimes you find families have got a bit of a split there, and you can find that you find an uncle or an auntie that's actually supports the other side, and we less said about that the better. But so can you remember sort of what sort of age you would have been when you first were going to watch Wednesday games then, Max?
I won. I can tell you the first match I went to, but the first game in 2000, it was 2013, 14 season. It was the final day game against Middlesbrough where they won 2-0. But I can remember absolutely nothing about it. My mum told me that all the way through the game, all I wanted to do would just go to the kiosk where all the food is and just have some food. That's all I was bothered about. That's all I wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to Hillsborough is not all, well, going to your first football match or your first few football matches. It's not immediately the football that stands out, is it? It's the actual place itself, the stands, the people, and mixing in with those people, the journey to and from the ground. It's all an experience when you're young like that, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's the actual seeing the ground for the first time. There's some really good videos of people taking the kids and the first reactions when they walk up the stairs and stuff. Yeah, and it's just really the whole atmosphere. It's brilliant. I think it's and then go on. Yeah, and I think it's just in terms of the whole experience and what have you. The cheering, the shouting. I know some words are certainly interesting and of choice, but that's the part and parcel of being a football fan, and that's why I love it.
Yeah, and certainly, you know, I sit on the COP, Max, so I'm quite familiar with that sort of colourful language that you're referring to there, and probably a bit more so than where you sit. But yeah, it's passions run high at times when you're following Sheffield Wednesday, and you do hear some things at times. But can you remember? Can you remember sort of like when Wednesday scored like the first goal and you heard that roar for the first time? Can you remember? Can you remember that kind of feeling? That
Yeah, I think it was just elation. I think it was just a joy of happiness and stuff. Because I think when you score, the greatest part about it is like all the all the all the stuff comes up inside you and it just releases, and that's the best part about it. Like when you score, just the raw, the the celebrations and stuff like that. It's like really good. The elation that you get when they score, it's I don't think any sport in the world has that has the same thing as football gives you.
No, I agree, Max. You're right there because it's a lot of the times when because although you wouldn't think it these days with the money that's in football, it still is very much classed as a working man's sport, football. So
Mm.
people go to work all week and then they look forward to the football at the weekend. That's their treat. That's their release, isn't it? So they like to go there after a hard week's work and hopefully witness a Wednesday win and some goals, and it just makes them feel better, doesn't it? It just releases that tension they've had in the week, and it just makes them feel happy, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's and that's the whole enjoyment of it, because I think we've all got we all because at the end of the day, what life is difficult, life is hard, but just to have something to where everyone can just enjoy and be happy about and be positive, and everybody can get together. Like obviously you see it, but it's just brilliant. And it's nice to have something as a community as well that you can look forward to on Saturdays and stuff without having to worry about work and stuff and what pulls you up to be and all that. It's really good.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more with you there, Max. And it's are you like some of like me? If they win, it kind of makes your weekend feel better. If they lose, you kind of get a bit grumpy.
I'd say a couple of years ago, I let it. I think I let it did affect me, but now I'm just like, wait. You know what? There's no point getting just angry about it. It's football. It's only a game, and just there's plenty of them more things to have that can than just football into it. But yeah, I definitely say 2 or 3 years ago, I think I let it get the best of me and affect my mood. Whereas now, I'm not really. It doesn't really bother me as much as other people say it does.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right there. You do have to put things into perspective. They can draw you in at times for you, and fans is short for fanatical, and that's obviously what it can be at times. Following a sport that you're really passionate about, because not only are you a fan, Max, you also play a bit of football yourself, don't you?
Yes, I do. I play for Hillsborough and its disability FC. We started in uh, we started back in 2020 during the COVID, and then we just built from there. We've gone from about 5 of us in down in Hillsborough Park to about over 30 kids now, roughly.
That's amazing because obviously that did that just kind of start up like you said when COVID kicked in. It was something that like sort of inspired everybody to get together and create this football club and coming out of COVID that give everybody that connection to play football and get to know each other and stuff.
Yeah, and I think as well because obviously for people with obviously autism and disabilities and stuff, there isn't really that. They just get kind of put to the side. But we want to create a scene where inclusivity was the main sole reason why we did stuff. And to just see like everybody enjoying it and loving it and stuff, it's brilliant. And all the parents, you know, they come on Saturdays and they're saying like, you know, with thank you because we uh, these things for our children and kids have never been available. And it's just brilliant. You know, we had one of our players, mums over there, and she was when we because our adults won the league, and she was just really emotional because it means so much to them to see their children and their kids actually achieving something, and that's the best part about being a Horn, because we don't let barriers stop us. Whereas before in other teams, they would just put it to the side because they had an emphasis on winning. Whereas we don't let it. It's just about inclusivity and letting people who can't access mainstream football play football, and that's brilliant.
That's absolutely fantastic, Max, and that's such a great story to hear because, like you say, football, I said it earlier, it's a working man's game, but it's in everyone's game, isn't it? And it should be accessible to everybody, no matter from, you know, what walk of life we're all in. That must have been really good to be able to play the sport that you love and meet new friends as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've met so many friends throughout it really that are just like live mates now, like yeah, I mean, I started at Sheffield FC, and then we had to we had some behind the scenes stuff going on there, so that's why we created and started this, and this has just been. Personally, I think it's best achievement we've ever done. It's brilliant. It's
That's absolutely great. Lovely to hear. So, in terms of like going back to Wednesday, then, do you have some favourite players then? Since you've been following, or have you kind of stuck to kind of one certain favourite player, or are you just more of I just follow the team and not have a favourite player? Tell us about
that. Yeah. When I first got me season ticket, it was just the season after we finished Wembley. So it was the year of Forest Games and stuff. But for me, I really liked Gary Hooper.
Oh yeah.
The reason why I liked Hooper was because he was just an actual striker, and he scored goals and he did stuff that that you know other players won't do. It's kind of what we need now at this moment in time, what we're missing. But yeah, Hooper. But I also like Atinuyu. I think he was just ledge because I think he got a lot of stick, but what he did, I mean, that goal against Preston where he got it returned, he rolled a couple of their lads and then he hit him far corner. That was just incredible. I mean, that would just if pictures could just tell a story, that would be it.
Yeah, that Atinuyu was, like you say, he was a player that did get a lot of stick, but then he also could score these unbelievable goals, couldn't he? And that was one of the best goals in recent times at Hillsborough, wasn't it? I think it pretty much won goal of the season for Wednesday, in a season where we did have quite a few, a goal of the month sort of contenders. I think that one took it all, didn't it? Really, it was Messi would have been proud of that goal, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah, and like if this was in the Premier or the international stage, I think we'll be all talking about it. And to be fair, I think it's a real shame nowadays that the top leagues and the top journalists, they don't look down. It's all focused on the Prem, like Sky Sports and stuff. So I really wish. I'm glad like all these like different YouTube stuff as well. They're really focusing on the lower leagues because it's the core really of football, and for me, I feel that gets lost higher up the league as you go.
No, I think you make a lot of sense there because like we said, we call it a football pyramid. but after it comes off the top there, like you say with the Premier League, there's the money seems to disappear, doesn't it? And the further down that you go, the more teams tend to struggle with finances and facilities and equipment and things like that. And there was the Premier League did sort of sign up to, a commitment to filter money down to grassroots football, and obviously the further down you go, we see that it's hard, isn't it, to get national media attention and sometimes even local media attention and on good stories and good seasons when kids of today are brought up on Sky Sports and watching Premier League, aren't they?
Yeah, where I mean, yeah, and I think that's a sad I think that's a sad reality of it, really. Like it's all focused on your Man City, your Tottenham, all your top six. Where in reality, it's all focused on them, and then it isn't actually looking at the core football, because I bet you nearly every percent of all these lower league clubs would absolutely adore that top media attention. They'd absolutely love it. And then just to see like everybody get it, all the top teams get it. It's got to be just so destroying and think like, well, what's the point? Especially the non-league teams and then they stay, with these non-league teams, they didn't have to come and play, but they do it because they love it, and that's the so you want to. I'd rather people do something they enjoy than doing something that they don't want.
Yeah, no, it's a shame how football has changed a lot. You're still a young lad yourself, Max, but when Wednesday were in the first division before it became Premier League and things like that, there were a lot more parity in football. Clubs were on a lot more equal footing, and you just relied on the good managers having a good scouting system and finding the good players to convince them to join Sheffield Wednesday. And it wasn't all about money. We could have a side in Division 2 that could get promoted and do really well in Division 1, whereas now, like you said, with the money, like you mentioned, the Man Cities and things like that, for clubs like Wednesday, the gap is absolutely huge. And if we manage to go up to the Championship, that's a big gap in itself, isn't it? But then you think about the gap from the Championship to the Premier League, it's just as big, if not bigger, isn't it?
Yeah, no, massively. And I think this is a thing as well. I just think with the parachute payments and all, where the teams come down, it just, I mean, look at teams like just Burnley this season. The difference between them and the rest of the league, it is mind blowing. I mean, if you ask me, I just think I wouldn't give them parachute payments because it's just because you know in your head that Arnold with the right manager and the right team, they'll just straight back up, like Norwich and stuff have done over the past couple of seasons.
Yeah, the parachute payments are a bit of a problem, aren't they? I don't think they're used with the right intentions. I think they invariably give clubs an advantage from being relegated from the Premier League, and don't quite make it a level playing field. And we know ourselves that we've tried to chase that promotion back to the Premier League by spending a bit of cash, and we got ourselves to the Wembley playoff final. Did you attend that, Max? Did you go to Wembley when we made the final?
No, I didn't. I was on that day. I went to my auntie's and we watched it there because I can tell the actual day because a couple of days later I caught a bug, but I was just sat at the full time whistle. I was sat there motionless, absolutely sobbing me eyes out, and just absolutely good because I used to I used to, funnily enough, when I actually started getting my season ticket, I used to cry a lot. I used to when they were losing and stuff, I started crying, and I were really like, my emotions were like do or die. Yeah, after every game, I just started. My emotions couldn't take it. Like against the Huddersfield, I think we left before the penalties because my emotions, they just couldn't take it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the players felt like they'd left before the penalties as well on that one, Max, because we all kind of knew what were coming, didn't we? Sadly, we had that horrible feeling in our stomachs that we were going to get it, blow it, and penalty shootouts, they are a bit of a lottery, aren't they, as they call them, and we didn't get that. But the Wembley thing, I mean, I went with a friend who's been on the show, and you're right, it was it was a very emotive day for all of us, really. I mean, we'd done such a great season, haven't we? And we got to the final, and it felt like we couldn't lose, didn't it? Really, the momentum and the passion from the fans and the actual gathering. That they took 40,000, didn't we? But no, we didn't get the fairy tale ending that we wanted, did we?
We didn't know, we didn't know, unfortunately. But I think hopefully now Chancery's learned from that, and we can rebuild again, because I think we're more in charge. I think hopefully, I think as a club we just need stability, and we just need to gradually build, and hopefully in next 5-10 years start trying to make a push again, rebuild ourselves back up, and hopefully try and push again.
Yeah. So obviously after that nearly moment, we found ourselves back in League One again, Max, and you mentioned about stability and rebuilding. What was your thoughts on Chansiri now? Do you think he's learned some lessons from those relegation and missing out on the Premier League? And do you think he's changed his focus and he's been a little bit more sensible now?
Yeah, I think judging on what the relationship is by reading the reports that the news outlets do, I think he has, and I think it was kind of, I think it thought in his head that the previous managers that we had, like Lahuka, Bruce, and Pulis, they promised him, we'll try and do this. But I think in a way it were false promises. And I think, especially with Tony Pulis, I think he said, "Oh look, we'll do this, we'll do that," and then obviously, and then when he left, there were that interview with Chancery going in on him. But I think it has been. I think he has, in a way, because I think as well. I think like I think it was the mismanagement by his advisor. I think to tell you the truth, I think his advisors advised him in the completely the wrong way, and he didn't get the goods. And they didn't have a good team around him, like he did at the start with that panel. He didn't have a good team around him to advise him on what's right. And I think now he's obviously getting that good advice, because I think as well he's kind of learning like I'm the chairman. If I step back, then I've got other people to do my job. Whereas before, I think I heard he was even in the changing room at one point giving the team talk. That's how that's how involved he was. But I think he suddenly realizes his mistakes, and now he's trying to create some. But yeah, I do think it was not necessarily him, although he can just take the blame for it, because I do think he is a businessman and he should know what one's right in the business. But I think because he didn't know the industry of football that well, and how interesting and complex that can be, I think he were very blinded by it, and he didn't really know like how to operate in that. Where I think is now he's learning. I think all these defeats and losses, then they are learning experiences for him, and hopefully now. I mean, I don't know whether you saw the picture of him on the standing up on the director's box of a week, waving last season's shirt on a pole. But
yeah, I saw that, Max. Yeah, it was funny, wasn't it? I was thinking, you'd think a man with that much money could afford this season's shirt, wouldn't you? Really, but
Oh yeah, I know. Because I'm like, wow, like
yeah. But no, I think you're 100% spot on there, Max. I think when he did come in, he was coming in as a businessman, wasn't he? Not a football man. And he surrounded himself with lots of people, but not necessarily the right people. And I think he had a vision, and he did almost pull it off, to be fair. But obviously, with that vision came a gamble, and with that gamble, came a risk, and it didn't work out. But I think you're absolutely spot on in your analysis there, where he's now looking at taking that step back, bringing people in to do the run the club essentially day in, day out, and he's just kind of been like almost silent in the background, isn't he? But he still backs his manager to a degree, doesn't he? And still puts up the money for transfers, but he's not meddling, and he's not tending to be as involved as he was in those early years when he first came on the scene. So now, without sort of looking at this week's match, because obviously we pre-record these, what I want to ask you though, Max, is with only a few games to go now. So as we're at time of recording, Wednesday are still top of the league, but there are some teams with games in hand on us. So I just wonder what your expectations are now, Max, as we draw towards the end of the season. Where do you see Wednesday finishing at the end of the season?
Well, I said after the Lincoln game on my Insta playoffs, here we come. I mean, don't get me wrong, 23 on Great 1, absolutely brilliant. But I just think these last couple of games have been so underwhelming and stuff that I think for me, realistically, we should have got Max. We should have I'd have taken a win against Bolton, draw against Barnsley, and obviously, I think nobody expected us to lose against Forest Green. I think that was a game where we had to guaranteed 3-pointer. But I just think we might have enough to do it, but I think in a typical Wednesday fashion, it's going to be nervous. So I'm going to say I do think Plymouth will drop out of it, and I do think Ipswich will come into it. So I'm going to say Wednesday first and Ipswich second.
Right, excellent. So you're still tipping us to win the league, then? That'd be awesome.
I think we'll just about get him over the line, because I look at people like obviously Aidan Flynn, David Stockdale's been. He's been really influential on advising the changing rooms and what have you. So I think he'll be pivotal. I think obviously Barrett, Bannon as well. But I just think hopefully if we win these next 6 points, I think everybody will be looking at this past week and thinking, oh, you know what, it seems like a lifetime away. But that's only if they win these next couple of games. I think if they lose Friday and don't get a win Monday, I think we can definitely kiss automatic goodbye.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree with you on that, Max. I think we can't afford any more slip-ups now, can we? We've got to be on it now to the end of the season if we want to get ourselves a chance of that top 2 spot and hopefully top spot, because it'd be nice to have the trophy at Hillsborough, wouldn't it, in front of the fans, and have
Yeah.
some silverware. We've not seen that, have we? For a long time. No matter what league we're in, it's nice to have some silverware, and we haven't had that as Wednesday fans for a long time. So it would be absolutely tremendous to have a sold out Hillsborough on the last day of the season, with the trophy presentation to come. That I think all Wednesday fans would absolutely love that. So fingers crossed, mate. That'll be the ending that we get. So yeah, Max. I think just to close out before we do, you're a fellow podcaster yourself, Max. So where can our good listeners find you on YouTube? Where can they find you?
So you can find me on Spotify and also YouTube. Just search the Max BB podcast, and it should all come up on there for you. It's I've just been having a bit of a break from it at the minute because I've had a lot on with starting college and whatnot. But I can guarantee you this year we are coming back. So yeah, so we'll when the new one comes out, we'll let you know.
Look forward to it, Max. That's absolutely tremendous, and good to have you back on the airwaves, so to speak. Be glad to see your content. Yeah. Thank you very much, listeners and viewers, and please do remember to like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. It does help the channel grow, reaches out to more fellow Wednesdayites, so we can do more of these things and hear from you, the fans, which is what we're currently doing. So once again, I'd like to thank Max for joining tonight, and we'll see you all again next time.
Balls.
Goalies.
Chaps.
Tackle.
Knackers.
Chaise long and armchairs.
Dangleberries.
Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers and Shed Travel Bag. Bring your comfort and boxers to another level.
Cojones.
Pebbles.
Gonads.
Plums.
Family jewels. Brass clankers.
The 4th generation trimmer features our cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. It's also waterproof and has a 4K LED spotlight if you need a more advanced shave.
Eggs.
Itchy and Scratchy. Mitchell Brothers.
Jewels.
Hanging Brain.
Twin bank robbers.
Chaps. Walnuts.
Gobstoppers.
Gooseberries.
Stabilizers.
The Manscaped 4.0 bundle. It reduces your risk of getting an ingrowing hair, it keeps them clean, it keeps them tidy, and it also increases your chance of fellatio by about 15%. That works out about 2% if you're married. So, you know. Anyway, enter the code TWW20 into the checkout. That's TWW20 into the checkout, and you can get yourself a 20% discount. Not too shabby, eh?
For our European listeners, Velata, Testicular,